Everyone likes growing potatoes, but how long does it take to grow potatoes in buckets? In this video, I'm going to explain exactly that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is my family garden, and on this channel we grow all our fruits and vegetables in our backyard. So if you like that sort of thing, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you get the notifications for whenever we put a video out. So the traditional way to grow potatoes is to grow directly into the ground in trenches. So that can have problems, especially if your soil is compact, because potatoes, they like a nice loose soil. And it can also have problems with pests such as slugs and wireworms, which are particular nasties for potatoes. And this is one of the reasons that growing in tubs will alleviate that kind of issue, because of the soil and the conditions that you're growing in are more suitable. You're more in control rather than growing directly in the ground. And I'll show you the mixes that we use to grow our potatoes in tubs. So these are 30-litre buckets that my friend Tony from Simplified Gardening has very kindly donated. And these are the ones that we're going to use to grow our potatoes in. So the first thing that we're going to do when we plant these potatoes is we're going to stick a layer of wood chips at the bottom. And these serve two purposes. So this layer of wood chips is about an inch deep, and this serves two purposes. Firstly, it allows drainage. So because these are sealed containers and the potatoes won't be getting their moisture from the ground, these wood chips act like a sponge and they'll slowly release moisture back to the soil. So like I mentioned, you're in a lot more control when you're growing potatoes in buckets, because we can add exactly what we need to add to make the suitable conditions for the potatoes. Now there's two types of potatoes that we're going to grow, and we're going to grow a different variety of potatoes between earlies and main crop, and they all mature at different times. So the next thing that I'm going to add is I'm going to add a good layer of compost. So I'm going to make sure those wood chips are covered, and I'm going to add at least 3 inches of compost. This is fully broken down, nice homemade compost. Look how friable that is. Perfect for growing potatoes. With potatoes, there's a couple of things that you can do to get yourself off to an earlier start. Now, as soon as you buy your seed potatoes, if you place them inside an egg carton and put them on a sunny windowsill and allow them to develop chits. Here's a perfect example. This is the perfect chit, and very soon that will sprout its leaves and it'll push out the soil and you'll have a nice healthy plant. For an ideal potato, you want a couple of good, healthy, strong chits just like these. You don't want more than a couple per potato because you want nice, strong plants. There's typically 3 types of potatoes that you can grow, and the first type are called first earlies, and these are typically ready to harvest between 8 and 12 weeks. And then you can have second earlies, which are ready to harvest between around 12-15 week mark, and then you've got your main crop, which take about 20 weeks to harvest. In this bucket, what I'm going to plant are first earlies. These will hopefully be ready to harvest in about 8 to 12 weeks. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to plant them in 2 layers. I'm going to start off by planting 3 potatoes at a lower level, and then I'm going to cover it in compost. I'm going to add some semi-broken down compost as well now, and this is less refined than the other one, and this is the same technique that I use to grow potatoes in the ground in wood chips. And I'm going to add 3 more at this level. So with the first earlies, you don't need to hill these up, so I can just go ahead and cover these right the way up. So in about 4 weeks, I should expect some nice strong plants coming out of these buckets. We're also going to plant some main crop. I've done the same thing, so I've added a nice healthy layer of compost. Now I'm going to add my potatoes, and in this bucket I'm going to add 3 seed potatoes. Just put that one there, good boy. So we're going to fill these up right the way to the top. So these partially broken down wood chips provide a perfect growing medium. So these wood chips are made from coniferous woods, so they have an acidic nature to them. pH is around 4.5 to 5, So that's perfect for growing potatoes because it prevents diseases like scab. We're going to plant our King Edwards. And these are another main crop. So I'm going to go for 3 seed potatoes. And as you can see, they've all got a couple, 1 or 2 strong healthy chits. With potatoes, especially when you grow them in buckets, it's not necessary to keep earthing them up. I know a lot of people say that you can increase the crop by earthing them up as they grow, and they'll grow on 2 levels. That's not really true. Potatoes will grow at the level that they're set to grow. They won't keep producing potatoes higher up just because you grow higher up. So if I stack this 6 foot tall, it's not going to produce potatoes at every foot, for example. They just don't do that. I've got 4 seed potatoes left, so these are all going in. So there we go, another bucket of Desiree. I had some absolutely amazing results with growing Desiree in Woodchips last year. Go back and check my potatoes grown in Woodchips video out and you'll see what I'm talking about. Absolutely beautiful. So potatoes typically like a temperature of about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, about 5 degrees Celsius for the plants to start sprouting and growing. So one advantage of growing in buckets, and which will speed up the time it takes for potatoes to mature, especially with these buckets, they're black, and because they're black they'll absorb a lot of the sun's heat, and that'll allow the soil to warm up a lot faster than the soil outside in the ground. Another little trick that you can do is, because these are now mobile, you can take these indoors, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with these. You can put these in the greenhouse like I'm going to do. That'll act to warm the soil up a lot faster as well. And that means that these potatoes will be growing a lot earlier than those that are growing outside. So we can hopefully get a harvest a lot earlier. So we can try and close that window of 8 to 20 weeks. So 8 weeks for our first earlies, 15 weeks for our second earlies, and 20 weeks for our main crop. So this will allow the soil to get warmer, and once the potatoes start growing in here, we'll whip them outside and let them enjoy the conditions out there. And another advantage of growing in buckets is we can protect these a lot easier from the weather and from the elements. So if we expect a frost anytime soon, what we can easily do is just cover these buckets up, and that will protect the plants, because the potatoes can suffer from frost damage. So that'll protect the plants and it won't set us back like if it was grown outside. So that's another advantage of growing in buckets and how to speed up your harvest. So the answer to the question, how long does it take to grow potatoes in buckets? Anywhere between 8 weeks for first earlies, 15 weeks for second earlies, and 20 weeks for main crop. But we can close that gap by putting these buckets in the greenhouse, warming them up, by using black buckets that allows the sun to warm the soil up, and being able to protect them a lot easier from the elements such as frost. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell for regular updates, and I'll see you on the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.